The French and Indian War. Woo! Kind of sad though. With Dylan and Winnie.
The French and Indian War was fought between the colonies of British America and New France from 1754 to 1763.
This was due to the fact that the British were expanding trade into the Ohio Valley. The French felt that the British were expanding their trade too much, so they sent French troops to intrude the land and try and control the trade in the Ohio Valley. This led to greater conflicts between the two powers until finally it led over to war over the Ohio Valley.
The British called for an intercolonial congressional meeting to prepare for the upcoming war. Only 8 of the 13 colonies show up. During the meeting, the British asked for 2 things: colonial men and supplies, as well as keeping peace with the Iroquois.
The British then sent Edward Braddock, a highly experienced general, to help and supervise the war. This was to help with along with 1,400 redcoats. They were instructed to take Fort Decoy in Virginia. In Virginia, Washington was sent over as a guide to try and help new British troops in American terrain.
During this time, Washington saw that the British weren't used to Indian-style guerrilla warfare, thus putting the British at a disadvantage, putting the French at an advantage.
Meanwhile, the British during this time period had replaced their war minister with William Pitt. He was ordered to take the French stronghold Louisbourg, and in doing so, he exhausted many resources. He was also able to take Fort Decoy, which he renamed Fort Pitt.
After the success of this raid, the people of Pennsylvania were worried their relations with the natives would be hindered when the British would travel through their lands.
This caused tension between the colonies and the Redcoats. The Redcoats, in response, came up with the Treaty of Easton in 1758. With this being said, it meant that the troops would respect their lands and property. Once the British troops were able to travel through Quebec and fight their final battle on the Plains of Abraham, the British General James Wolfe was able to defeat the French forces, coming to the major victory. The French and British then agreed to meet to create the Treaty of Paris upon the Battle of Quebec. The Treaty of Paris included terms that caused the French to lose all their North American property. This allowed England to gain the Ohio Valley, with which they later traded with Cuba for Florida.
Making this the first war with unconditional surrenders, with which the loser gets nothing in return.
Due to the tensions of war, one of the major outcomes was that Britain was in major debt. This resulted in heavy taxation of the colonies, drifting the two powers apart.